there's nothing with like my hands touching the mics or.
No, but we're recording.
Oh, okay.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the A Show with the Kings of Pro Wrestling Podcasts. I'm Justin, reporting live from a makeshift recording setup.
Good. Excellent. I love it. A
And
dedication.
of course, I'm talking to Meals. I'm on a small desk that is acting as multiple different things. This will be the last week that I am not in my new home.
I feel like you're giving the desk too much of a hard time. Is it accomplishing what it's supposed to do and more? Like, what's the
I'm not mad at the desk. I was about to actually
put over the desk?
I was gonna put the desk over because it's able to be the gaming center, the recording center, the work center, all in one. And I'm thinking, do I need a big desk? I'm thinking I should just downsize and just get a small desk.
So here's a story that I have. So of course I have this IKEA table, which is I forget how wide it is, but it's pretty wide. I have this IKEA table that I bought, and it fits everything. I have my manga on here. I have 2 screens here. Like, the setup I got is pretty nice. Got my laptop here, everything like that. And then so like a number of months ago, I was walking outside. I was doing my walks, and I walked past a smaller IKEA table that someone just left outside. You know, when people just leave furniture outside for people to pick up, like Josh's couch. Um, good luck to that couch. I found another tiny table, and it's completely new because my table looks like shit now. Like, it's got water's been penetrated it. It's like it's got bubbles that popped up over it. It's like disgusting. I have a mat over it. So I'm like, yo, should I just switch out to this smaller table? Like, could I use a smaller table? Could I consolidate everything I have here? And the answer is probably yeah. But honestly, nothing feels better than a big table, to be honest with you.
Yeah, but I've come to appreciate, not having. I think that's what it is. It's like I don't have a big desk. I'm used to my big L shape.
You're roughing it out, and you're like, you know what? This takes me back
Man.
to time.
I'm a
in Virginia, where
yeah.
we couldn't afford big tables in Virginia.
Well, I used to do the show on the floor. You know what I'm saying?
Really?
Like, yeah, I used to do Voice of the Voiceless on the floor. Like, I would literally just pop a squat on the floor and just record and do all that.
Wow. Very CM Punk-esque too. I feel it. I feel you're very. You're in Indian style.
Legs crossed. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just was what it was. But what isn't what it isn't.
Good luck with that. Nice work, kid. We've only been in the biz for a couple of years.
Spot Callers premiered this week.
Ooh, I saw that. I got the alert. People have been talking about you not getting the alerts, but I got the alert.
Yeah, 2 hours nearly. Me and Cyrus talking about old ROH. We talk about. I really love this episode. I really want everyone on the Patreon. And if you're not subscribed, please subscribe to it. $5 down, you could listen to this episode. We talk about old ROH. A lot of the stars on this show that we still see today on TV. Weekly. And how Tony Khan, if he chooses to, how he can utilize this library that has so much great content, but also some content that probably should be cut out. And how could he do it? Like literally the first 5 minutes. What was that?
Giving away free game to Tony. Well, it's not free game, but game nonetheless.
He needs some game because
listen, we got rumors today. We got rumors. We got it all. We got it all. Apparently, here's what I like about our network. Shout out to our network. Shout out to Rewriters Room. Shout out to War Report. Shout out to the A Show. A Show, War Report are pretty much the weekly content that you'll get. At this point, we're covering the first half of the week, and the War Report's covering the second half of the week, to be honest with you. Just to be completely real with you, because the news that we've had over the last week has been nonstop. Just it's more things keep coming out. Honestly, I feel like, here's my opinion on things. There's a lot of red flags that we've been noticing with a certain company, and people are just willingly ignoring it. And I think that is the fingerprints of a very toxic relationship.
Mhm.
Just ignoring the red flags, ignoring things that are just put in front of you, and actually, even in some cases, moving over to the side of delusion in these things to like make things seem like they're happening when actually they're not.
I mean, these are some of the same people that believe Triple H was getting a divorce and believe that, but wouldn't believe this.
This is insane. And you know what? You know what's the worst part? We're getting attacked on Twitter. I mean, getting attacked on Twitter is nothing new to the people on this podcast and or network. We're hated by the community, the AEW community.
Yeah, it's so weird. Like, I got attacked last week again.
Of course, I saw it. Well, recant me. What was this one about?
I didn't even do nothing. Like, legitimately, I didn't do nothing this time.
You're like, I can't believe this is the main event or something along those lines. It's like, I can't believe you said that about Mexican. I can't believe you hate Mexican wrestling. And I was like, what? There's 4 people in the ring who aren't Mexican.
I was like, is this doing it for y'all? Like, the match wasn't doing it for me, and I wanted to see what
You got 5
people
stars. Got 5 stars.
Well, I mean, that means a lot, but then that came out. Somebody said something. I was like, I'll just respond tonight, like whatever. I usually don't even see it. Somebody had to like literally like put that in the chat for me to see it. That's why the only time I respond is when somebody puts it in the chat. And I saw it
when you say something, and I can look at the quoted replies and see who's hating.
Why though? You know what I'm saying?
I don't know.
Anyway, where do we even where do we even start? Like, we got a lot of stuff to talk about. We have hot takes. We're gonna open up these hot takes. It's the end of the summer. We're gonna open up for everybody.
I think we should start off with hot takes this week because we got so much show. I want to make sure to get everyone's kind of opinions out there, and I think it's going to cover a lot of the stuff that we're talking about, especially leading up to Clash at the Castle. I mean, this is a big wrestling weekend. All Outs this weekend, Clash at the Castle, Worlds Collide. You're going to have more than enough wrestling if you're staying home this Labor Day weekend, so shout out to you. Also want to give an update to the people. The people who have purchased the Revenge Tour t-shirts. They have officially left my house this morning. I worked very hard last night packing up these shirts, and I woke up pretty early this morning to send out these shirts to the USPS. And I learned today that the USPS doesn't open till 9 o'clock. And in fact, it's not open at 8 o'clock. So I had to sit in a McDonald's with every old person on earth for 45 minutes.
What in there, boy?
to wait for the post office to open up. And listen, these old people got it made. Like, McDonald's is really, I'll give McDonald's this, really a community center of like the new age. Like, if they had computers and a printer, they'd really overtake the library for sure. The libraries are just, I went to a library when I was applying for the job that I got. I had to do this long take-home test thing, and I went to the library because I just needed to focus. I was in Starbucks and then I needed to go to the library. Apparently the library is just like filled with like people who don't have computers and homeless people. So I hadn't been to a library in like 20 years before that, and I was just like, damn, it smells in here, like what's going on? But McDonald's is just, you can get your work done. You can get your stuff done at McDonald's. Shout out to McDonald's if they want to be a sponsor for this podcast.
That's a big ask.
That's a big ask, but I feel like, you know what? I feel like, well, actually, it is a big ask because we say shit like ass. We say shit like shit, ass, nigga, all types of
and nigga like nigga. That's what we say on here. So,
nigga, get yourself a spicy chicken sandwich from McDonald's. I feel like we should open up. But so I want to say, yes, the shirts will be. Hopefully, you guys will get all everyone who ordered one should be receiving one before the Labor Day weekend. So hopefully, you guys are able to enjoy it. Take a trip out this Labor Day weekend with the shirt on. Tell a friend, tell a stranger, something of the rather. I shipped it out to many states. I feel really good about this. So you know what? It's a really great thing.
And if Get your shirt. Please post, man. Tag us in it, man.
Oh yeah, post it, please. I wrote messages on all these things, man. Like I don't just, I bought the gel I bought the gel marker just for that. Yeah.
It's a nice show marker.
It's special A show message. It's gold too. All right. We should get into these hot takes because we got a lot of them and we got a lot of show to go through. Are you ready to start the hot takes, sir?
Let's go.
Okay, we got our hot takes. First time us doing hot takes in a while, and of course, we got the first one from You Tweaking Media, Chris J. Shout out to you.
This is about to be good.
He says, well, he's got two. He's got, and I told everyone to submit their non-wrestling hot takes, which we'll just kind of like breeze over, but we'll get into as well. He says Bobby Lashley's current run is much better than the Hurt Business run. I mean, I think it's very. I think
he's definitely more over. I feel like there was definitely a point where like there was definitely people who liked what he was doing in the Hurt Business, but I don't think it was universal. But again, it's hard to tell because they were not in front of crowds.
I think niggas just like what the Hurt Business represented because they were all black. But the Hurt Business, kind of in general, its run was very short. I mean, it's not their fault. I'm sure they would have loved it to be longer, but it was very, very short. They accomplished a lot of things, WWE champion, a lot of stuff like that. But Bobby right now, just he's in a mode, he's in a space. He's just kind of like, he's cooling right now, and he's kind of, he's over. I think that's the main difference about it. Like, he's legitimately over. It wasn't, we weren't groaning because Bobby was just beating everybody like we did when we did in the Hurt Business run. Like, he's beating everybody now, and I'm like, this is delightful. So it's just better. It's just better overall. His non-wrestling hot take says, honestly, Nevermind album is a top 3 Drake album.
I can agree with that, but it's really good.
I've been, I enjoy a couple of tracks in there.
That's a hot take though. That is a hot.
A top 3 Drake album is insane.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
What are your top 3 Drake albums?
My top 3 Drake albums are, I'm gonna go number 1, probably fucking Never Was the Same. Nothing About.
Come on, man.
I forgot. Listen, I fucking forgot at this point. So that was the first one. My second one is probably going to go with, I really do like If You're Reading This Is Too Late.
It's good.
And then I'm gonna still go. This is a very weird thing. The Dark Lane demo tapes. For some reason, I just like when Drake is rapping the majority of the album. I enjoy the album a lot better. But what about you?
Has Take Care fallen out of a lot of people's top 3? I feel like it fell out of mine.
It never was in. Well, I don't want to say it never was in mine.
I don't know. 2011.
Yeah. Or
yeah. Take Care was in a lot of people. I would probably say No Order, Views.
No.
Okay. Huh?
I said No Order. I just put mine in order. You put yours in order.
I'm not doing order. When you do, like, I come from a world of lists. Come on. I'm tired of them.
Yeah, I feel you. Go off. Okay.
No Order, because the thing is, you get like PTSD, like you work for a place that does lists for so long, and then it's like they're shitting on you because you just happen to get a blurb for number 5.
I'm sorry. Yes, the PTSD is definitely blaring right now. Please go on.
Yeah. Views. Nothing Was the Same. I'm not. This is going to be real controversial because it's so recent. But I really like Loverboy a lot. I think I listen to Loverboy more than I listen to any of his other projects in the past 2 or 3 years. It's either that or More Life.
I might revisit Loverboy. I might revisit it on my walk or something today. Like
I really enjoy. The thing is that keeps it out of like truly being like, because like the thing with Take Care is that I skip a lot of Take Care now. That's why I fell out.
I give up Take Care, a lot of Take Care. I don't listen to it at all.
Yeah, but with CLB, I've been able to consistently for at least a year run the whole thing through all the way up to like maybe like the Tim song, and then I fall off, and I'm just like, okay, I'm done. Or I'll listen up to like I feel like if the album had ended with the Kanye diss song, it would be a perfect album. You know what I'm saying? But like it keeps going, and that's why it stays at my top my top 3.
All right, we got the next one up by DMV fan 123. Always
my boy DMV.
Listen, this is going to be. He clearly knew what he was doing with this take, especially being a member of the Discord. Says hot take says Raquel Rodriguez has the potential to become one of the next big stars of the women's division, given a few tweaks to her presentation and putting her in positions with storylines featuring top talent, Charlotte, cough, that can help the audience further build a connection with her. The reason I don't think this is a hot take, because he's saying, yo, with all the right tools put in front of her, Raquel Rodriguez can become a big star. And I'm like, yeah. Yeah. Given storylines and presentation and all the other stuff like that, I'm like, yeah, more than likely she can become.
That's what DMV was doing. This is what DMV was doing. I want Mills and Justin to argue, but I don't want them to. I want them to argue, but I still want it to be fair.
I appreciate you, DMV fan. I appreciate you. My thoughts on Raquel Rodriguez. I'm not sure if she's gonna come back up in this thing, so I'll just say it right now. I don't like necessarily her presentation on the main roster. I think it reminds me of her presentation before she got with Dakota on NXT, if that was a thing. But it just kind of like there's nothing there to me. Like she's just a she might as well be a vessel in a giant, just a giant woman body. I don't know what to say. Like there's nothing there currently for me to grab onto. So I'm not very enamored with her. But please do tell. What are your takes on Miss Rodriguez?
Taking out the if given the right push stuff, I think that she has a magnetic kind of force to her in terms of like there aren't very many women that are as big as her or as again, like you, on the main roster you have maybe Nia Jax was there, Tamina has been there forever, but it's like no one has that presence of the young kind of big, tall, strong, muscular kind of woman type. You don't see a lot of those. You know what I'm saying? We've been getting a lot of like athletic type, lean, women for a while in that division. Right. And I think the look is what carries her.
To be honest, we haven't had a large, not large. I don't say large. I'm
trying to be careful by saying large.
No. That's what I'm not trying to say. I don't. But what I meant large in like the pejorative sense. I don't think we've had a large female Hispanic star in WWE. So I think she represents that, and I think she can, if she can pull that off. Not necessarily like they haven't had it before, but I don't think we've had one to the scale of like standing alongside the Rey Mysterios, Eddie Guerrero.
It's a market for them to have someone popular. It's not shocking to me that people cheer her. It's not shocking to me that they made her babyface because she's a really pretty person. The smile is kind of, people say, oh, she smiles too much. I'm like, but that's like her selling point. Like she's got a really good smile. Like I was cold on her as a heel act. And I was even colder on her when NXT kind of fumbled that face turn toward the end, and I thought that it was, really important for her to kind of come off well. And I thought she was floundering a bit, but I think in the past couple of weeks, they've made her look like someone who should be invested in. Like you saw flashes of that in the Ronda match. You saw it a lot on Friday. You saw it on Monday. They are really behind her in a big way. And yes, I do think that the presentation could be tweaked. I don't like the music, for one. The back flexing is whatever to me. That's been her thing forever. Like
I'm just, I'm over the back.
Here's my thing. I'm over arguing about the back thing. Like that's just her thing.
I mean, it just is her thing. But I feel like we need. I wouldn't be mad if she moved on. Like, there's nothing there. Like, get a tattoo or some shit like that. I don't know. So, you have a massive back. Thanks a lot. Like,
She should get a face on her back, and then when she flexes, the face should move.
That'd be awesome. She should get like whatever what Arbok, the Pokemon thing. Just draw that shit on her back or something. So it's like two eyes and a nose or something. I don't know, just something like the back doesn't impress me because if Rhea Ripley turns around and flexes her back, it's like, oh shit. Well,
they should remix Sable's theme with the and then make her theme.
Yo, hot take. The worst grind I've ever seen in my life. Even as a child, I was like, she ain't really. Are you ready for the grind? It would just be like this like dirty white woman grind.
I mean, like, but you know what? Like, right. The same reason people love Raquel, I feel like, is the same reason people love China. You know? And it's that it's the wonderment behind like, yo, like she could really beat my ass. You know what I mean? And I think that's where Raquel kind of gets that aura about her. And I do think if they tweak it a little bit, she'll be fine. But again, they're starting, you know what I'm saying? Like, let her develop. You know what I mean? Like, I think she's been even more crisp. Like, I remember she would do that little Vader bomb twisting splash, and she damn near killed Dakota a year and a half ago doing that shit. And now it looks crisp. You know what I mean? Like, she looks a lot better. So say what?
I said she might have almost killed someone another week ago, but you know what? Oh, it was Shotzi. But you know, Shotzi dodges death on multiple occasions in the ring, so I can't even be mad. His non-wrestling hot take was that PS5's first 2 years is better than PS3 and PS4's first 2 years. Your thoughts, gamer guy?
Yeah. I mean, that's. I mean, you can't debate it. I mean, Demon Souls launching with it. A lot of Spider-Man Miles Morales launching with it. Then you had other games like Ratchet and Clank coming along with it. The sheer amount of exclusives that the system has got, and it hasn't slowed down. And I think that if it did slow down, you'd be seeing a lot of people talking about some of the things that PS5 doesn't do, or some of the things that is coming short on doing so far, which is like their classic game selection is not there yet. I've been very kind of frustrated with that monthly. And stuff like that, but they still have the games to go with it. And this fall, you got God of War, and then in literally 3 days, you have The Last of Us Part 1 remake, which looks amazing. So, it's not hard to say that in the first 2 years, it's been better.
Right, absolutely. Okay, next one comes from our guy Marcus Flowers. Marcus Flo.
Oh God, what's Flo about to say, man? Flo has been wilding lately.
He says CM Chump in AEW was the worst thing possible. Sorry, I said it like that, Flo. CM Chump in AEW was the worst possible thing to happen to that company.
I feel like we're gonna be talking about Punk more. I'll say that he is not. I'll say this: he is not the issue at large with this company. He is a catalyst that has brought their issues to the light. So.
We're going to talk about a lot more issues, a lot more AEW issues as we get deeper into this podcast. JB Great, love you guys, says, I believe Clash of the Castle could be a top 3 pay-per-view this year. The fans in the UK have been waiting for this. Now, I agree it could be. I just don't want to hear chants I don't want to hear singing the entire pay-per-view.
Especially when Bailey's out there.
Yeah, like when they did, remember NXT London?
Oh God!
You know why there's never been another NXT London? He sung the entire show. I was over it. As long as they don't do that the entire show, which they absolutely will do. I mean, 65,000 of them at this point. But I do believe we're going to go over the card in a little bit, so we'll definitely be able to back that up before the end of the show. But Clash of the Castle is looking pretty good, looking really good.
I mean, looking at the card, top to bottom, I mean, for me, are we in agreement? Like WrestleMania Night 1 is probably like pay-per-view of the year still?
Yeah. I was like, okay, that was the one with Stone Cold, right? Yes.
Stone Cold, Becky Bianca, Seth Cody.
Oh yeah, obviously, easily. All right.
Yeah.
I don't know. Don't even worry about the rest. Let's see. Okay, next one comes from Amber. Amber Rosal says,
Amber, what's up?
It says FTR will be back with WWE when their AEW contracts expire. With the backstage politics, not getting their match with the Bucks, and being left out the AEW video game, I could see them being back under Triple H. How do you feel about FTR and where their future lies, and currently how they're being treated? With AEW, I think one of the largest contentions that we had that we noticed. You know what I'm saying? These are the kind of like red flags that we did when FTR was the number one tag team in the company, and then the Bucks said, "Oops, we dropped the titles." And now the Bucks turn. Oops, we're face now. Guess that match can't happen.
Hey man, I think it's real interesting that like with every small inconvenience, if you will, if every single thing they've ever disagreed with on in any other company, I won't just say WWE, whenever that comes up, they are very vocal about it. They're very vocal about every time someone has done them wrong, every time someone has let them down, every time someone has hurt their feelings. With how serious that you feel as though, and we see how they are about belts and winning matches and being presented in a certain light, I think it's so odd and awkward that they seem to be okay with that same treatment in this company.
People, I mean, I've said this a long time ago. People are going to make excuses for whatever they like at the end of the day. I don't think anyone looks at things objectively. They're just going to say, I mean, whatever they like. And unless they really just don't give a fuck. But FTR to me, I honestly don't. To be honest with you, no, but not not to say that they aren't good. Like, it would be great, but honestly, I don't see. Maybe in Triple H's WWE it's a little bit different, and I've been still trying to like kind of like get used myself to Triple H's WWE. It's not more so of me trying to dictate what's happening and get mad and if stuff happens, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But I'm still trying to get used to like his kind of style. I know in Vince McMahon's WWE it would have been a moot point because the focus was never on tag teams, but in Triple H's WWE, there's certainly going to be a point where it's going to be on tag teams, but then there could also be a point in the future where it's not Triple H's WWE anymore. So it's it kind of depends. I think FTR, the only places to go are AEW and WWE, and to be honest, they've been given so much country in AEW that it doesn't really make sense for them to leave.
But define country though. You know what I'm saying? Like
singles matches, tributes, hang with the champion. I mean, I get they get shafted a little bit on things, but they get to really flex being the wrestlers they want to be in AEW as opposed to WWE, for sure.
I asked this question in the Discord. Like, why do they have all these belts? Like, I mean, I get personally that makes them look cool, but like, does anyone really notice? Does it mean anything to anybody?
I think no, but I'm gonna blame AEW because of that. And also, like, yeah, I kind of do blame AEW because of that. I think if they were contending for the tag team championships, it would be a lot more of a story. But since they aren't, they end up being more accessories. As they roll around AEW, I think the entire ROH championships, no offense to my guy Claudio, is an accessory at this point because they're not that they can't defend it because Claudio just defended it last Friday, but they're never going to be a focal point of AEW show.
The belts don't seem important to me other than like the top belt. None of the belts seem important to me at all anyway.
Well, yeah, that's true. You see what
like
and shit.
Like I mean, and that could go for like, I mean, and it goes to show like, you know, Triple H's WWE is trying to put a focus on the mid card belts. Intercontinental title feels important again. It feels like it's something that people want.
And the US Championship pay per view for the first time, gotta be since I think last year's WrestleMania, which is wild.
Right. And you know, Bobby's defending it almost weekly. They get vignettes. They show that that's important. It takes little things to make these belts feel important, but with FTR, we don't really know the significance of any of these belts. You know what I mean? When you watch it on AEW, so.
Nah. Of course. Next hot take comes from Slad Hugo. Shout out to my guy. even though this, I'm not going to shout out for this. He says, Meals ain't no real wrestling fan if he don't tap into 99 2000 WCW.
That's a take. That's a take.
What am I missing? I've been tapping into, listen, the YouTube has been getting me back in 1999 WWF. 1999 WWF, and not for any match rate, just for the moments itself. I might do another thing on 1999 WWF because of how
What
it was.
But here's my thing. Here's my thing, man. Here's my thing.
I know.
You can't do 99 WWF without doing 99 WCW. Like that's it's impossible. I'm just telling the truth. It's impossible to tell that story. It's impossible to tell that story one-sided because a lot of what they're doing is in reaction to what the other company was doing.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. And I could see, you know, vice versa as well. So maybe there is a series. Maybe you bring the WCW to the table. Maybe I bring the WWE to the table and we talk about it on a...
Yeah, you got to watch it too, though.
I mean, you saw how I was trying to get out of that. Exactly. Okay. All right. Well, so here you go. We'll see what happens with that. Next one comes from Donald Jones. Shout out to you, big fan. Says, even with Roman signing a contract for less dates, the PLE taking place in Wales, an incredible promo package. Drew is still losing at Clash at the Castle.
Jesus Christ. I think we'll
save it for our things. Yeah.
We got to save that one. But I think that I will say this. When they show you things, don't like, how do I say this? Like in a like when the E shows you things, like why do people like deny it like vehemently when they show you but like a direction that they're going? Because, you know, some people didn't believe that Drew was going to win the Royal Rumble, even though the signs were clearly there that he was going to win it.
Absolutely. No, it was definitely clear as day. So I agree with you. There's a lot of things, and honestly, especially with the new regime. But again, we'll get to that with the predictions itself. Next one comes from Nick's Kicks. Says Sasha and Naomi blew the opportunity to make the tag titles feel as important as the women's champion title by leaving. I'm going to retort that by saying there is no way in hell the tag titles could have ever felt as important as the women's championships at any point, no matter who you put on.
Exactly. Exactly. And there's literally no reason why they should. You know, these are at best, and I find, and then we're going to get to it, I'm guessing, when we talk about the women at Clash. The women need the titles serve a function that they have not been serving for a long time, even when Sasha and Naomi had it, and it was that they had no direction because they were trying to put important people with these titles and treat it like it was on that same level. Like if Sasha and Naomi had it, they're top titles now, and that's not what they were. They have to have a title for the women that aren't doing anything to be able to have to make them feel important.
That's essentially, you can look at the history of the championship. I mean, it goes Bayley, Sasha, the Iconics, and then it's a bunch of women who are thrown together at whatever random point because they weren't doing anything at whatever point. It's a secondary title. If you wanted a secondary championship, this is definitely it, because this is taken. I mean, we've had Liv and Rhea Ripley get together and break up and within the span of 3 months for the sake of challenging for these championships and then go back to whatever they were doing. The women's tag team championships have never had any direction to me. They've never had any. They preluded it with a bunch of women in tag team matches and stuff like that, but there's no true division or any true women's tag teams in the WWE, and there won't be any long form women's tag teams because the bigger stars are solo stars. Ask Beyonce, ask Justin Timberlake, ask Paul McCartney.
But there's nothing wrong with them being mid-card championships, upper mid-card championships that get you to that level and making them feel important in that way. Yep. I think coming out of this, the tournament. We still have tag teams that are still set there. They've shown us them. You still have Dewdrop and Nikki. You still have other people on the other shows that can realistically be foils for these characters. And the thing is that like if the women needed something for the mid card to make them feel important, and you're not going to give them a singles title, I think this is a great mea culpa where you'll still be able to build up people who aren't really necessarily in the title hunt, because Rhea's not always going to be in the title hunt. I mean, Raquel's not always going to be there, but for right now, there's a log jam of top women. You know what I'm saying? And Becky's due back whenever. So whenever Raquel's ready, she'll drop the belt, and it'll be the next person that they're trying to prepare for this thing. So like, I just don't think that the mission and the goal should be to make these titles on that level, but they should have direction, and I think that they're on the way to doing that.
The next take comes from Jalen. Shout out to Jalen. He says, low-key, during her title reign, Bianca has felt secondary to her challengers outside of a few moments. She's killing it outside of the ring.
He's been saying this for a minute.
Hello. I want to finish it. He says she's been killing outside the ring as an ambassador for the company, but on TV it feels like she gets less promo segment time than her opponents. Following a reign as good as Becky's was, I was hoping her presentation as a champion would be a little bit better weekly than it has. I'll say this is the reason why I think it is before you get into the reason you think it is. It's because she's a face. And I think you have to tell the story consistently with her contenders and her opponents and their contemporaries more so than you have to tell the story with Bianca, because Bianca is just going to get cheered and she just kind of represents, you can see it from her. You don't need to tell a big story with Bianca because you can kind of see everything that she is. You can see that she's super strong, super athletic, has a great look, great smile, nice, all these other things. And she talks the talk and can walk the walk. You don't really need to do much with her, but for her opponents, you definitely need to bring a Carmella up to, snuff in this kind of situation to make her look like a threat. You need to do stuff with, Becky. I forgot who else in her title reigns that she had. I mean, that's kind of it. She really only faced Bayley, Becky, and Carmella.
That's why to me it's like a moot point. Like there was a lot of things outside of Bianca's control for a lot of the year that kind of, I wouldn't say put her on the back burner, because she's never really been on the back burner. She doesn't really lose. But again, like you said, Milo, she's a face. And also you just did a year or so of her having adversity and you had that story. Now, as you say, it's about her keeping it. Again, a lot of people kind of always say the chase is better than the actual reign. And again, we saw the chase. So what more in the story do you want to, like, what other adversity does she have now that she has the championship? It's keeping the championship. And like you said, you got to bring these people up to her level. That's why you have Bayley gunning for her. I'm sure that when this whole thing is broken up between Bayley and Control, it'll be Asuka gunning for her. It'll be Alexa Bliss gunning for her. It'll be Rhea Ripley gunning for her. I don't get how someone who gets consistently cheered, consistently over, she is now to me a attraction to the show. Mm-hmm. She doesn't have to be a focal point to the show in the same way that Roman is an attraction to the show. He's not a focal point in the show. Like, I mean, a lot of times you could say that Roman feels like secondary because he's not even on TV half the time cutting promos, maybe twice.
Yeah.
So like, again, like when you have someone that is dominant, you don't want to overstay your welcome with her. And I can't say that she's felt secondary. She's definitely not secondary in the company. She's front and center on everything. I just don't agree with the idea that Bianca has fallen a step back since she's won the title. I mean, she's had two of the best matches of the year. Clearly,
she only had one. I mean, she's really only had one opponent, kind of. I mean, she had the triple threat with Asuka and Becky, but she's been mostly facing Becky, and then she faced Carmella that one time, and let's see. His non-wrestling hot take is Power Rangers could be a legit movie franchise under the right leadership. The lore is super rich, and I've always wanted to see it properly explored on the big screen. Didn't they try that?
They tried it, but it wasn't. I feel like what they need to do with this to make people like come to go see the fucking movies is connect that universe with the universe in the TV show. So like you should still have Tommy still being in it in some way, shape, or form, or Jason, or some of the older cast members come in, introducing these new people, and then let it be that way. The reason why Marvel wins is because they take the time and do the work. well, I won't say do the work, but they kind of take the time to make sure that they make sure that they grab people that will make you go out to the theaters to go see these movies. So they're gonna go get Tobey Maguire. They're gonna go get all the like Patrick Stewart and shit like that, and all the people that people in the internet fan cast. They go do that. Like Power Rangers, to be successful, they need to do the work to get people to come out and go see it. But I agree.
Hey man, Jason David Frank is down bad right now, so I don't know what kind of movie
he needs the money. He needs the money.
He absolutely does need the money. Let's see. Next one comes from Nick Simon. He says, "Hit Row is fine. Yeah, they dress goofy and Top Dollar's antics online are annoying, but they are a serviceable lower card faction, and that's what these shows need. I do agree with Mills' assessment that they need to start incorporating the audience with their raps. They'll figure it out." So essentially, he says, Hit Row is fine. They'll figure it out at the end of the day. I agree.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, they gotta get the fits right.
They have a rap sense. So,
yeah.
From one of the reports that we got from who was at the tapings last week, said that well, I'll wait till Hit Row parole officer starts rolling by.
That's Swerve coming.
That's Swerve. He said that Ashanti Adonis' fit was the best fit that he had ever seen, that he's worn thus far. So I'm looking for Friday and seeing what the hell does he got on. Because
listen, whoever said that, if it ain't fire,
I'm looking at you, brother. You know,
coming for you.
We coming back. Next one comes from Z-Man. Says, even though I believe she's coming back soon, Naomi ruined all the momentum she had. She was having a long storyline to herself, which she's never had before, interacting with Charlotte, Ronda, and main event and SmackDowns. With the walkout and how it's been more so about Sasha, it feels like she'll just be viewed as her partner versus being her own person / character. What do you think about Naomi's role in all of this? Do you feel like she's kind of like ruined all the momentum that she had? I think I personally, in my own opinion, I don't think she can ruin the momentum. She's pretty like bulletproof at this point, not in terms of like a top star, but someone who's always going to be popular with the fans, just always. She is essentially the female Kofi. She'll always have a place in the fans, and when she's in the position, she'll always be cheered and regarded. I don't know if she ruined the momentum, but she's had a great year before she walked out, for sure.
Yeah, I don't know that
because I don't imagine consistent momentum with Naomi. I mean, I think I think she was doing the best work in ring that she was doing this year, but I think she can still do that when she returns. So I don't know.
But do any of that matter when she comes back? You know what I'm saying? Like when she comes back, that don't matter, you know, because she'll have new momentum from coming back. Hey, you know what I'm saying?
Hey man, listen. By this time next week, maybe we could talk about it. Maybe. I feel like it's coming back pretty soon. I feel like they're coming back pretty soon. Rumors are out there. Next one comes from Ron Ryan. Says Sasha and Naomi should be the first team Dakota and Io defends and retains the tag team titles. Damn, age poorly, Mr. Ryan.
But that's the thing. Like, what if that's not the direction they want to go? You know what I'm saying? With them getting the titles back right now. You know what I mean?
Amen. Listen, have they ever thought Naomi and Sasha might be a heel?
Yeah, I mean, that was my thought too. Is just like, why would you want them to pop out on the baby faces that won the title and take away their moment on Monday? I thought that would have been really stupid to do.
I think it would have been very stupid on Monday, but we'll see. I mean, let's see what happens. Sasha and Naomi are going to be. I have a strong feeling they'll be back pretty soon. Considering all the reports, all the momentum, all the stuff, it's about to be Rajgiri about to be put in a pack. To be honest with you, he's probably not going to be, but he should be. We should hold.
I never said they were actually gone. What I said was,
yes, I never said that. They're gonna, and no one's gonna get him worse than they do to you. To be honest with you,
nah, not even. Imagine me put something out there and being wrong. Remember when I put out that Cody was facing Seth?
They call you a munch.
Wow. They thought I thought it was feeling me.
Oh God. Nonetheless, Terrence Delane, next one, says Drew's babyface run from Money in the Bank 2021 to SummerSlam 2022 is the biggest waste of a top babyface in a decade. He needs a top title by the next Royal Rumble at the latest.
They had him in hell, man. But here's the thing. Y'all said y'all was tired of him. And when y'all said, like, that was one of the few times the company did what y'all wanted to do. They said, move away from Drew, we're tired of him. And they said, I bet.
Hey, man. I don't know. Was I tired of him? I don't think so. I wasn't tired of bangers. He was having bangers. I was with it. But yeah, he lost the title and then never came back to it. I feel like at various points, this is just me talking about my ass, by the way. I feel like at various points they had him versus Roman scheduled, and then they just continue to push it back like over and over and over and over. But that's just me. Next one comes from Brandon Duggar. Mr. Duggar, we have a date pretty soon, sir. We need to figure that out. But nonetheless, he says two people who have weirdo fan bases. Two people who many consider legends but haven't done anything in relevant years and always seem to find a way to cause trouble wherever they go. He says CM Punk is the Nicki Minaj of pro wrestling.
Sasha Banks.
That's way more accurate. I couldn't call CM Punk the Nicki Minaj. CM Punk is way more. What would CM Punk be if it had to be a rap?
Lamar.
Who?
Kendrick Lamar.
I don't know about that. I feel like he's more Kanye.
False prophet.
Actually,
Kanye's good.
I feel like Kanye.
Yeah, it's still a false prophet.
Absolutely. People still will love him no matter what. He could do anything. People still want to listen to him or think his matches or so. He says whatever at various points. Doesn't matter. Next one comes from Kenny Brophy. Shout out to you, Kenny.
Kenny, you crazy motherfucker, jumping out of planes, boy. You crazy.
He says Seth Rollins is the obvious choice to dethrone the Tribal Chief, not Drew McIntyre. Nah, because if it was obvious, it would have happened already.
Yeah, nah.
They got these niggas overtrained, to be honest with you.
I am so interested in what Triple H is going to do with Seth, because like I said last week, if there is anyone on that roster that he loves more than anyone else, it is Seth Rollins. So I'm like, what is he going to do with him in the next year, I think. And as Cody nears his return, I think it will become more clear.
His non-wrestling hot take says, after being robbed the previous 2 years, Joel Embiid will finally win MVP and lead Philly to the NBA championship. Hey, man, he better, because he ain't got that much time left. He's a big back.
Yeah, he's a big man. They don't last very long playing 82 games a season, man.
Yeah, he's not gonna last as long. If they're gonna do it, it needs to be this year, because if they don't do it, the window closes faster for him than like a Giannis or something, for sure. Next one comes from You'll Call Me Rob. Says 2K22 ain't that great of a game. It just came out after 2K20, which was broken, and 2K19, who was old and tragically outdated. 2K22 is the bare minimum of what people should expect from major game publishers and overpriced on PS5. I feel bad saying that because I feel like Cornell is going to jump through this microphone and choke whoever the fuck. Choke Rob.
Well, I mean, I don't understand why you feel bad about something that is like inherently wrong. My eyes are like rolling to the back of my fucking head just listen to that. I think that like the 2K22, to say is the bare minimum, when they rehauled the engine, rehauled the graphics, rehauled a lot of things, a lot of legacy stuff from the previous games that were woefully outdated, redid a lot of the animations, cleaned up a couple of the moves, redid the complete finisher system, how you get finishers, the payback system is completely redone. Pretty much from top to bottom, they had 2 years to redo this game. I think that like to call it bare minimum and like I if you think it's a bad game, that's completely fine. But to say it's bare minimum is just inherently false, because it's not. Like,
absolutely. I don't play.
I know you haven't played it, but it's just not. I mean, I'm sure people that are listening to this that are fans of the game, and people in our Discord who, when they listen to this and they listen to Hot Take, and Rob is already like a firebrand in there, and so it's not going to be hard for people to respond to this. But I just think that it's inherently wrong to say that. I just don't like you could. There's no way, and I'm saying this. I know Mills, you haven't played. I'm just saying it to the people that have played the 3 games, right? In no way could you go to 2K19 with the same stuff that you could do in 2K22. That's why it's not bare minimum. I say that even having friends on that development team, even having friends on that marketing team, I say that without the bias towards them at all. The game gets patched more than 2K20 and 2K19 ever did. They have at least 3 patches in the first 3 weeks of the game. There's nothing bare minimum going here. And I mean, again, I'm not arguing if he likes the game or not. Like, there's a lot of weird stuff Rob likes and doesn't like. But like, I think that to say that it's bare minimum is just crazy to me. Like, it is by and large a complete rehaul and overhaul of like what they have actually done with the game. Like if you don't like simulation type video games, I could see you're not liking it. But like for what 2K is, like, of course, if it's not broke, they're not going to fix it. But they have added on to that system. I mean, they have a combo system in the shit now. Like, there's a lot of stuff they added to it. So whatever.
Maybe when they put the game on Nintendo Switch, I'll play.
Well, don't. Well, Meals, you're not a fan of like a bunch of buttons, so like that's a game that has a bunch of buttons, so you probably wouldn't like it.
I can't turn the Switch sideways and the controller or something. All right.
You sounded like you was 50 years old right there talking about some sideways.
Listen, man. Next one comes from Antonio Salgado. Shout out to you, Antonio. Says this is a good one right here. He says Cesaro as ROH champ is top 5 here damn world champions ever. Let me ask you something. Let me kind of on this point. Who we classifying as here damn world champions in history? I got a couple just off my top of my head.
Kofi Kingston.
No, I mean,
hey,
I just think about it. Let me think about it.
Hey man,
it wasn't here damn to him. It was a here damn to us.
Hey man,
listen. I was thinking of Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt in my brain is like such a here damn champion.
Fiend and regular.
Fiend and regular. Both of them. They ain't even hold it that long. It was whack. Here
damn champions. Damn. Like world champions?
Yeah, world champions. Huh.
John Cena several times.
Adam Page.
Wow.
Actually, yeah, Adam Page. I think Adam Page, granted, I think his momentum was in such a certain way, but also it was very much like, I mean, you've been here for a minute. Let's just do it. Because he was.
They won't stop talking about these storylines, the long-term storytelling here.
Here, damn. Let's see. What's another one that I could name? I'm trying to think of ones from different. Let's see. What about? I'm trying to think. Here, damn. Someone who'd been there for a while and just like, well, here, damn. Like, if you want the champ, just damn. I'm trying to think one of old now.
Old champions, Mick Foley.
Oh, easily. Oh, that's a here damn Hall of Famer. Oh my god.
TNW, Booker T and WCW.
Booker T and WCW here damn 4 times. Jeff Jarrett.
Oh wow. Jeff Jarrett was like a you stayed down for a while, man. Here, damn.
Oh god. I mean, there's been a couple here dams, but Cesaro's definitely up there. Cesaro's is the fact there's no story built up to it and he just won it out of nowhere. He won his first championship, like just world championship, just like right off that. You didn't even want to build a story or anything.
You know what's mad funny is that we in the show that me and Cyrus watch, he's actually in a world championship match, and the storyline is that he can't win the big one, and that's what makes him turn heel. And I was thinking, like, damn, that would have been such a great idea for him to eventually have won the ROH championship. Is that like, damn, even when I come to a new company, I can't win the big one. Maybe I need to switch up the way that I do things so I can win the championship, and then he wins it. That would have been a better story.
But then he just won it because they didn't want the octopus little guy to have it. We'll talk a little bit on that. Non-wrestling, he says, Summer Walker is an elite R&B artist, discography damn near flawless. She got 2 albums, Antonio. Maybe 3. Like 3.
Flawless, I don't know.
It's good.
I don't know.
They're good. I don't know about flawless, but they're good. She's great. She's great at what she does.
Just don't go on her Instagram stories.
Yeah.
And you'll like more.
And also they're great at like producing her, because clearly I think if she was an artist on her own volition, it would not sound as good or be presented as good as it is. But I appreciate now that she has no phobia of performing in front of people, because I can't imagine y'all was paying hot resale for her live shows where she didn't even want to be there. It was ridiculous. Jonathan McLean says, This is. I know this is fresh. This must have been This is Jonathan McLean pulled the Johnny Gargano to wait and see, and then I'm gonna submit my hot take. Said Aaliyah is a lot better than people think. She is a great person to have as the comeback person before a hot tag. The role that she's in now with Raquel is perfect for her. Hey man, you on the right side of history at this point, my man.
He said, "Let me get this shit in real quick." he saw the tides changing and said, "Yeah, let me get this hot take in real quick." I said this in Discord this morning. I said I can't subscribe to the fact that that both Raquel and Aaliyah are talentless, or like have literally no talent whatsoever. Like I can't subscribe to that, because it's like if you're saying that, then what's your measure of it? Because not everyone can be Sasha Banks, not everyone can be Becky Lynch, and not everyone can be Bianca Belair.
People got to have different skill sets. Natty been a different skill set for damn near 2 decades, and she's still here.
Yeah, I think she's probably better than most people think. I completely get that she might not be your cup of tea. Like I get that. You know what I'm saying? But to go out on a limb and say that she's like the worst, awful, most worst, like there has been so much hate levied at this person, for winning a fake belt in the last 12 hours.
Or you wanna talk about it later?
I mean, it's up to you where you want to go with it.
We got one more hot take after this.
Okay, so we can do it after.
Okay. His non-wrestling hot take is that people didn't like Nope because they're used to movies and media that don't stretch the critical thinking and analysis muscle in their brain. Wow.
I think that I too agree that like the hate around Nope, and it's still going, by the way, is so crazy, because I thought that it was one of the most sublime and like gripping movie experiences that I had this year. I really like the movie a lot. I think a lot of people went into it expecting, once again, a twist, a racial twist, and it doesn't have any of that stuff in it.
I haven't seen it yet. When does it go on streaming? This is what I would like to know.
I believe it is now, but
Ooh, okay. Wait a minute.
I think you can rent it now on digital, but I'm pretty sure there's other ways that you can find it.
Oh,
what I mean.
All right. Last one comes from Mike Brown. Despite the promo packages and WWE hyping up Drew's homecoming, I can't see Roman dropping the titles with all the future programs they keep hinting at, nor can I realistically see him being the first person in Bloodline dropping their title. Mike Brown, we'll come back to that. We hit prediction.
Yeah, we have to come back to that. I don't think that you're completely on point there. I think that you have to raise his megalomania by having him drop it. So I think that that's actually the best way to do it. He's not going to give a fuck if the Usos lose. He's going to, because he still has punching bags. If he loses, then it becomes way more important for them to win. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. No, I absolutely agree with you. We'll talk about that in a bit. Thank you everyone for submitting your hot takes. If you would like to submit a hot take for the next time we do hot takes, all you got to do is become an A Show patron. It was open to everybody this time. $3 tier, $5 tier, $10 tier, and everything. And if you join more, you get access to the Discord. You get access to the special content like this spot callers that was released earlier today. You get the War Report and the A Show early. You may even get longer versions of those shows. And of course, you'll have access first fresh access to the Draft Diaries, which is coming next month on the A Show network. So
I can't wait for
I can't wait neither. Make sure you guys continue to subscribe to the Patreon. And yeah, you know what? Before we get in hop into predictions, let's do a quick, not necessarily a speed round, but let's do some no holds barred. Let's get some stuff off.
Okay.
The first thing we got to talk about is the news that came out kind of after our podcast. And wouldn't it come after our podcast? Was this meeting? This this meeting that Tony Khan had about everything that's kind of going on in AEW. What have you heard, or what did you? I forgot what the meeting was about. I would assume it would have to be like, "Hey, here's our new guys that you guys got to go to." But it seemed more from internet salacious. The internet kind of added a salacious spin to this thing. It seemed like how everybody just hated one another.
I just thought it was. I just think that it's weird that like, and like purposeful that they said don't leak anything, but this just so happened to get leaked. I think that the way that they play, I'm like, at least Hollywood sources like Variety try to at least make the bullshit seem believable. This is literally like, yeah, it all being filtered through Fightful, by the way. Not one other source but Fightful.
Hey,
so
directly through Fightful, there was a report about Sammy Guevara and Eddie Kingston having their backstage altercation, because apparently that's the only altercation that's come to the surface thus far. But there's hinted to be more that is going on behind the scenes. Both men went specifically to Fightful to drop off their version of this story, especially Sammy Guevara, who went into very big detail about this, which to me, you talk about red flags with the company, and this isn't just AEW hate, because if WWE did that, I'd be like, yo, what the fuck? If anyone in WWE did that I truly appreciate it, I'd be like, yo, what are you doing?
Yeah.
But to go into that kind of, that's just not information that needs to be out. That's not information that the public needs. There's nothing beneficial about this information that will benefit your character or your standing in the company. There's no.
Why do we need to know this?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, why did we need to know that you actually saw him first and you did this, that, and the third, and now he's saying, like, why did we need to know this?
It was weird because it was like Eddie took the high road and then Sammy completely threw him under the bus, and I'm just like, oh, so the beef is still popping. Okay,
I'm saying, like, I'm confused about like why we needed to know all of this, and I don't blame Fightful, because they're gonna post a story of it. I'm not gonna say like Fightful should have been like, hey man, you need to chill out on this thing. They got money to make. They got checks to cash and stuff like that. Of course they're gonna post this. But I really don't think it was necessary at all, nor did I think it was constructive. And then more reports came out over the weekend about one Thunder Rosa, especially after her announcement on AEW Dynamite last week that she had to not relinquish the title, but she's injured, so she's not going to be able to defend the title. So, of course, we're crowning an interim AEW champion out over the weekend. We just literally got out of one to establish another one. But there's been reports that Thunder Rosa may not be as nice as as everyone likes. He's like, I don't really like her. She's not really that nice to me. She's stiff with the extras and all this other stuff like that. What do you what are you reading through the tea leaves of these reports coming out? How about that?
The tea leaves is that where there's smoke, there's fire. And when you get so many altering, varying explanations of what's happening, you got people saying everything is not good. Then you have Christopher Daniels coming out this week saying everything is fine. Then you have other people saying everything is okay. You got FTR coming out saying, oh no, Punk is fine. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing going on with Punk. It's to me seems like there are certain factions of people in there, and it's become cliquey. Remember in WCW, or in WCW, it was like Hogan and his crew, then you had Russo and his crew, and then you had other people in factions. And that seems to be what happens now, or what's happening now.
But here's the thing also. I feel like, to be honest with you, the thing that doesn't surprise me about this is just going to happen in pro wrestling. It's happened in pro wrestling for the end of time. I don't think it's led to the, with people like this might lead to the end of AEW. I don't think social or ethical things back and forth, I don't think that personal stuff is going to lead to the end of AEW. Because even the end of WCW was some business shit. Just they didn't have their business outright. Yeah, ratings are down, but no one cared that at the end of the day, this person didn't like this person backstage, because at the end of the day, you still got to be professional and go out and work with them. No matter what. Sammy Guevara, Eddie Kingston. Go ahead.
I do think a lot of that backstage shit spilled out into them trying to actually make it into a storyline, which is like they should not do. And we warned about this during the MJF thing
with the chicks carrying out the sandbag.
Yeah, exactly. Like we warned about this, where it's just like you should not be questioning whether this is real or not. It should all be fantasy on this. You know what I'm saying? Like it should mostly all be that. It shouldn't. You know what I'm saying? Like to be honest, like I felt like, and it's the same way I feel like about the Riddle Seth Rollins thing. It's like we knew they had heat, but it's been long enough, and we can tell that they probably don't have a real issue with each other. But this is just for that,
right?
But with AEW, the difference between that is that this is some of that work shoot stuff comes from, we know there's somebody that you're not paying, and then they're not on TV right now because you're not paying them, and they don't want to be on your TV show, right?
Mm-hmm.
We know you got people that are working hurt, and that are sending subliminal shots at them at the end of the shows. You're putting two guys that clearly don't like each other in a match, and then you let them cut a promo on each other about real life shit about New Japan, a company that like y'all aren't working for right now.
Yeah, it's just bad business decisions, just in general. It's just bad for business, man. Like I'm looking at this this Fightful report regarding the Thunder Rosa injury. It said word emerged shortly before Dynamite that Thunder Rosa was injured and wouldn't be competing at All Out. Fightful had gained word that the original plan was that Toni Storm was to emerge champion, victorious, and win the AEW Women's title. Goddamn, I don't know if that's gonna happen again.
What a sad story. What a sad story.
It's almost the same. I'm cool. Now she'll compete for the interim AEW World Championship against Hikaru Shida. Also a sad story. Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, and Jamie Hayter. We have not learned of the creative plan set for the title as of yet.
You know what they are. You know what they are.
Big B's and a couple C's. You know what I'm saying?
You know what they are. You know what they are. You took Toni from working with someone that was like clearly on her level in terms of like stardom on that show, and then you put her with somebody who clearly has the eye of the owner of the company in Britt Baker, and it would be historic for her, right? For her to win it twice, like first person to win it twice, right?
Yeah, she would be the first person to win it twice.
There you go. That's your story.
We've had contact on both sides contact us regarding Rosa, with many saying she's worked hard to keep young women's talent booked, and others perceive her as developing an ego and being difficult to work with. There's been a bunch of reports that come out over the last thing that she's been difficult to work with. It's interesting what they do it's interesting all of this is kind of going on. I think we've been privy to and heard of a lot of unrest backstage in AEW that eventually would bubble to light, and I kind of think that we're seeing it now. In fact, I don't know if this is necessarily a bubbling to light, but the result of the World Championship, the AEW World Championship match last week, what are your kind of thoughts on that? The Punk going out sad in a matter of minutes in Cleveland.
Silly, man. It's silly. I in a vacuum, people can say, "Oh, this reminds me of some UFC bullshit," right? This ain't UFC.
That's the delusion talking. That's the delusion talking, because he was not good in the UFC neither. And I don't know why we would be comparing such to both. But go on.
Mox is not Mickey Gall. This is not UFC. They're not gonna build this as a UFC program. where he just got knocked out. That's not what's going to happen. That's not what that match looked like. It looked like they wanted to get the interim thing off so they could switch it back to whoever they want to switch it back to. I think Punk's going to get it back again. They seems to be like they're going to actually do and I feel bad for Cyrus and Quan because they got to kind of come up with analysis on this on the fly because it's going to be announced on the day that they that they have to do the show and predict this stuff. But like, I feel as though this is clearly to. I really hope I'm wrong, but I feel like they're going to do more work shoot shit, and I feel like they're going to turn Punk heel.
I have a strong feeling Punk is definitely turning heel. It just makes sense. Mm-hmm. And I think him more than anyone there looks at the wrestling business as a business and doesn't really look at it as a, not necessarily get him his shit off because he definitely does do that, but I think he looks at it more so as a business than just like the art of professional wrestling that people look at as. I think he knows, okay, it's
a business of him. It's not a business, it's a business of him. He is the business. He believes he is the business. This is a guy that we predict, like we literally predicted it's happening, that has already had the locker room sour on him. You know what I'm saying? It is a business of one man, and that is CM Punk, man. Like, and that's where it is. So I think he says, or I think the thought is, they're already talking shit about you. Why not just go into it and be a heel because everyone hates you online now anyway? They're not going to boo him. He's the reason this company exists.
There's a lot right about that. Other bit of new No Holds Barred news. Let me see, what's your take on this, or what could arise from it? WWE's Bianca Belair signs with WME Talent Agency. What could be on the horizon for Miss Bianca Belair?
A lot of good stuff. That's like the top talent agency in the world. They help models, actresses, actors, musicians, some of the best in the world. Like, I mean, you could look at some of the people that they represent, right, and see like who they are and what their story is. I mean, just from they actually I believe they have a partnership with Endeavor, or they're owned by Endeavor or something like that. Like they're pretty big, agency. I can't stress enough how crazy of a deal this is for someone like a wrestler, because that puts her in, I believe the actual report said like podcasts and marketing and film. And I think that Bianca absolutely has what it takes. I mean, she's up there in class. And I think that it's amazing that, for someone that, we've interviewed and we've seen how amazing and cool she is. And we've seen it on TV.
It's a wrap for us.
But we got it. You know what I mean? Like we got it one time, you know what I'm saying? Like, and that to me is like the dopest thing, is that we actually got to see it. And as a fan of hers, I get so happy to see her succeed and prosper, right? Because it feels like we're right there with her. And I'm just such a I'll say it right now, I'm a stan, man. I'm like one of these CM Punk stans for Bianca Belair. She can do no wrong in my eyes.
Absolutely. Let's see. So I'll go through the quick things, these quick hits. Hold on, just wanted to make sure I got everything right on that. NXT UK is becoming NXT Europe. It was announced last week after, I guess before NXT. Before NXT,
like we saw that we saw the writing on the wall, and they just confirmed it.
Yeah, they just confirmed it. So NXT UK is going to become NXT Europe. It's a new brand that they're developing. Shawn Michaels is going to be at the head of it, similar to what he did with the NXT UK. All those releases weren't for nothing, but to be honest with you, not to say those releases couldn't be brought back for this new endeavor that NXT is trying to pull off. I expect a full thing logo look, figure it out by the time Worlds Collide. That's what I would imagine. But what are your thoughts on NXT Europe?
They're, what's rumored is that Brexit might be a reason why they had to do that, because it would be harder for fans to come to shows as borders open up and stuff like that, which makes sense. But I think that when you look at NXT UK, a lot of them, the top people in that show weren't from the UK at all. So like it actually makes a lot of sense for them to kind of go that route and just make it just, Europe in general.
Mm-hmm.
they're changing. You know, they're changing direction. I don't think that it's a bad thing when a company changes the direction. It really sucks that the people got let go, but like you said, here's hoping that when they get their budget right, because again, when you shutter a company, that's what happens. People get laid off, and some people get to stay. But I hope that when they figure out what Europe's going to be, they bring back some of these people, because I think a lot of them are talented, man. Like Ashton Smith and a lot of those guys, like Trent Seven, stuff like that. Like I hope a lot of those guys come back.
Last bit of news before we head over to the predictions. There has been rumors of 2 major talents that could be brought back to the WWE. Fightful Select reported that WWE may have some interest in one Braun Strowman and Bronson Reed. Braun Strowman, of course, released by WWE in 2021. He had re-signed in 2019, landing a major I'm reading the Fightful thing, landing a major 7-figure multi-year deal that paled in comparison to some of the newer contracts that WWE had out over the last year. And then they were like, nah, actually, we in grind mode right now. But rumors that he
much money.
Making too much money. Rumors that he might be brought back along with Bronson Reed. My thoughts on Braun Strowman. Personally, I don't think he needs to come back. I see the reason for him to come back. Definitely for a top notable talent. I think we've existed in this world without Braun Strowman for the last number of years, and I approve of it. So I really don't think we need to see him back, but they gonna do whatever the fuck they want to do anyway.
Yeah, I've never been like the hugest Braun fan. Seeing how, I mean, I'm just trying to figure. Like again, we see that they need someone who fans will react to when they come out. He's a giant. People love giants. I just think that it would cut the legs off of, so to speak, Omos, who they've been really putting a lot behind, and they need to. I think they need to put the time in to figure out what to do with this guy. You know what I mean? And I think bringing Braun back, unless you're doing Braun and Omos, which I think would be like the smartest thing to do, I just don't see what would be the purpose for having him back long term. But I'm more concerned about the Bronson Reed thing, because like this guy called every coach, every person, every trainer at NXT any name but God when he got let go. I'm just like, what is the you know, the reasoning for him? You know what I mean? Like I get that H is doing right by all of his guys, but like Bronson basically threw your ass under the bus after it was over with. So like, what's the point of that one?
I mean, we've seen worse. We have seen much, much worse. Is the only excuse that I can give for this. We've seen worse with people who call Vince McMahon or Triple H and still return to the company. Scott Steiner getting inducted into the Hall of Fame was just I never thought that would happen. And the words he said about Triple H, I don't even know if you can find them on the internet anymore. But with Bronson Reed, I mean, if he shows up, he does great work, but I don't know if he's needed. But then again, I don't even know the direction of, like, I'm still trying to pinpoint the direction of things go, because if we're doing these definitely like in-ring heavy things, it's like Braun Strowman for real. Like we having like 20-minute matches on Raw as like the average, and like we bringing back Braun Strowman, like So that's my biggest gripe about it. I feel like we don't need Braun Strowman, but I get what
only way it makes sense is if he's like an attraction and he only shows up for like 4 events a year.
But even then, I'm like, yo, fuck Braun Strowman. Like to be honest,
his baby
can get really anyways.
His baby matter roster. His girlfriend is on the roster though, so
I mean that's true. I guess. I mean, we saw what happened with what's my man's name? They called my guy Budget Murphy. Were you eating?
I was drinking water.
I'm just saying, he got his girl took. Corey J moved up. He moved up. She living life right now. It's a little bit different in Orlando. Don't get caught up there with I don't even know brother's name.
Talk about Corey J's ex.
Yeah, Corey J's ex. What's his name?
Blake Christian.
There you go. Listen. It's rough out here in these streets. You're gonna want to get signed again. Let's move over to predictions. Have you got the card set up, sir?
Yes, I do.
Okay, let's get to the predictions for this weekend. We can only do it,
Clash.
we're doing Clash at the Castle. I'm sure you'll get predictions because there are two. God damn, they got 2 shows this week for the War Report. God bless you guys, man. 2 pay-per-views same weekend. You got Worlds Collide and All Out this weekend. That prediction show is either going to be massive or really short, depending on how Cyrus feels.
Hey, I'm hoping to help predict the Worlds Collide if they need me.
Okay. I might, they need me to predict All Out. Look somewhere.
Yeah, you would watch that. You would watch that bullshit.
I'm gonna watch both of them, man. I gotta see what happens. Let's see what the tournament final for this trios championship is. They gonna give it a dark order or not?
Shut the Castle. Live from Cardiff, Wales. 1 p.m. Eastern on Saturday, 10 a.m. Pacific. Great for me. I hope my TV gets to my new house before.
Man, moving is tricky. And it ain't something go wrong.
I got a new TV.
Of course you do.
85 inches.
Of course you do. You watch the bees off of Roman's head as he holds up the world championship at the end of the show. But we'll get there.
Oh my God. Where do we start? I will say a lot of the matches on here I haven't hated the build for. I actually think that it was a good idea to hold off on the Riddle and Rollins match for this. I think it feels way more important. It feels way more personal now. So like,
had a whole month without a pay-per-view. Think about that.
Yeah, I didn't even notice, to be honest with you, and I think it's because of the excitement for like the Triple H era. So this is Triple H era proper, right? Like this is
absolutely
his first huge Mania level event proper. So this is where he goes. It seems as though this show is sold out too, which is great for them, which means it bodes well for anything else that they want to do. But let's start it off with a match that just got announced this week: Edge and Rey Mysterio versus the Judgment Day. This was announced on Raw when Rey Mysterio came out to help Edge take out the Judgment Day. Rhea Ripley had a couple of words. She may look like she has a little bit of control over Dominic Mysterio, so he's definitely an outlier in this match. What do you think, Mills?
That Dominic, he ain't look so sure about this Edge thing, man. He was like, look, this white man taking up my spot. Like, yeah, they used to be tag team champions, but Dominic has had a problem with Edge for quite some time. Do you see Dominic go to the evil side is what I'm wondering about this. Does Dominic join Day?
He needs to do something. I think that we've seen enough.
His girlfriend in real life. That would be fire.
Listen, man, I've seen enough.
Actual tension. That's what we all learned.
The thing is that the pushing P will get you a lot. You know what I mean? Shout out to Rhea. Pushing P. You'll do anything for it, man. It's the power of that P, man. I know y'all heard that song. And if that's the case, Dominic, I understand. But listen, I think this would be great. I have really, really liked the way that Judgment Day has come off in the last 2.5, 3 weeks. They have
too. I mean, I think it's definitely been. I mean, it's this new era that kind of restructuring the importance of these people on these shows, and I do think that Judgment Day has looked immensely better. They've been having the matches. I mean, Finn versus Dolph over the last number of weeks. We've seen Finn versus Rey. We've seen Damian Priest versus Edge, and they've all looked great in these matches. And even Rhea Ripley herself, who at one point we thought, okay, she's gonna go back to the women's championship because she's still technically like number 1 contender from like a couple months ago.
She is.
Even she's thriving in this situation. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would feel not necessarily, I'm not mad that they're not taking her out of this situation is what I'll say. I think this is enhancing her character immensely.
And man, didn't you like the fire in Finn's promo this week? I feel like he's finally found that cadence for a heel, like talking about, well, how come they don't have a documentary on me? I'm a Hall of Famer. And then Damian Priest saying that, hey, ain't no cap on it. He ain't capping you down. You feel me?
Man, hey, man. First of all, I'm telling you, Justin, go out your way to watch that Rey Mysterio on A&E doc. It is good.
Okay.
It is good. Like great. It was one of the best docs they've ever done, to be honest with you.
Wow.
And just in recapping the star, like Conan gets a lot of love in this thing. And I was like, wow, the importance of Conan. And it's like, I hadn't even like really put it together because I'm not like an old school WCW fan. But I'm like, yo, the importance of Conan and the development of Rey Mysterio's career has been like just incredible. Listen, man.
Who wins? You want to keep the momentum of the Judgment Day. They got to win a big one. Okay. You got to in order for this stable, let's be clear, right? Like this stable, as far as like in the men's division, this is the stable on Raw, right? So they got to win a big one. Edge has already beaten Damian Priest. I don't think it's any skin off of Edge and Ray. Ray, who always loses anyway.
Oh, yeah. The SummerSlam, they beat him at SummerSlam, right?
Judgment Day? No, they lost to SummerSlam.
Yeah, they lost to SummerSlam. So they should win here.
Yeah. I think they win here. I think you establish them firmly. You get Dominic as that fourth member, and you ride with it. I think that there's something there with this group. I think they need to be a threat going into whatever happens in the fall and into the next season with WWE.
I agree, and yeah, I agree. So I'm going to go with Judgment Day as well.
Next match, Intercontinental Championship match: Gunther versus Sheamus. Boy, that promo from Friday had me ready to run through a fucking wall, boy. This boy Gunther, man.
This man Ludwig fighting for his damn life.
Let's get jumped.
He's getting jumped. And he was just like, yo, thug it out. Thug it out.
I gotta stare this nigga down real quick, man. I ain't pussy. I ain't gonna miss this.
This man break necks. You expect me to fight with my damn self? I'm ready. It's going to hit hard. I'm sure Sheamus is going to be all types of colors when this match finishes.
Yeah, this is a match that I think that like, let's just be clear. Like Sheamus is needed because he's been ready to have a match like this, and then it's so great because Gunther needs this kind of marquee win. It was great that he beat Nakamura. You know what I mean? Former Royal Rumble winner. It's great that if he beats Sheamus, he beats a WWE champion. He beats a tag team champion. He beats a lot of there's a lot of legacy that goes with beating Sheamus right now. And in a venue like this, at a pay-per-view like this, we could be looking at a show stealer right here.
I think we are, to be honest. Well,
it's tough. And I said this off mic. Say what?
I said that main event.
I said this off mic. There are at least 4 matches on this card that I feel as though could steal the show. And I hope people, even after they watch All Out or whatever the fuck, I hope they're honest about it. That's all I'm saying.
We'll see. I'm going to go with Gunther because the numbers. Got to go with the numbers. Betting odds got to be on Gunther. So I'm going to go with Gunther. But this should be very, very interesting. And based on they taped SmackDown this week, in case you under a thing. There's more matches to build up this feud. So, stay tuned on SmackDown.
Yeah.
Different guy is not wrestling clothes anymore. This is what y'all wanted, right? This is what y'all wanted, right? Of course.
Y'all want him out of the drip and back into some fucking wrestle bullshit.
In a one
Thanks.
Good work, guys.
Good job, y'all. Fucking idiots. Next match, Matt Riddle versus Seth freaking Rollins. Riddle got his name back. Got his first name back. Very nice.
It's good for SEO purposes, of course.
Absolutely. This has been a month or 2 months in the making. This has been a very long build up to this match. They've made it feel important. They've given them some personal stakes as of last Monday, and we are now here at the match. But with Seth Rollins, he's coming off 3 really high profile losses. I think if you were to give any of these Cody matches any type of distinction in your top 10 of the year, Seth Rollins has lost all of them. And he is looking for that big win. He's looking for something big, period, to kind of solidify his year. Matt Riddle's been without without Randy Orton for a while. That tag team is kind of, it's kind of over for the time being. He needs a big showing as well to show that he can be a singles guy. And I think that both of these guys got a lot to prove going into this match. What say you, Meals, about, the stakes leading into this?
Listen, the promo on Monday, especially the stuff that apparently they didn't want to, you know what I didn't like? And this was just a nitpicky. I tweeted it out. But I didn't like Jimmy Smith cutting to the footage. It was like, oh, we got some footage of some shit you guys didn't see. And then after the fact, he said, we apologize for the footage that you saw. I was like, you just told us. You didn't even have to show it us because it happened off camera.
Your production didn't tell you, hey, man, this shit is kind of lit. So I don't know if you want to show to me. Like,
I was just like, bruh, okay. Nonetheless, it was a spicy segment. They've been trying their best. They've been doing their best to make this look as intense as possible, and they've been succeeding. So I want to give them that. The build up to this match, the false matches in itself. I mean, the SummerSlam thing was just like perfectly how they managed to stretch us out another month, just perfect. They're doing stuff with guerrilla footage and all the stuff like that building up to it. I'm looking forward to this match. If I would want to say something, I say Seth Rollins brutally beats the shit out of Matt Riddle.
Yeah, you got to do that because I think you got to have Seth win because I think the end game here is you wait to see if Randy Orton can go and you send Randy Orton off to go, whether he be part-time, whether he be, taking an extended break or something like that, you send him off with having him face Riddle. I think to me, the end game is Riddle versus Randy Orton, And with Seth, you have to start making him look strong for Cody. That guy's coming back. You know what I mean? And that's going to be an interesting dichotomy. You know what I'm saying? Because again, with Cody coming back, like it could be 0-4. You know what I'm saying? So you have to make him look good.
Nah, I agree with you 100%. So I'm saying Seth Rollins brutally beats the shit out of Matt Riddle, and that's how he wins this match.
Right. Next match is a 6-woman tag team match. Bianca Belair, Alexa Bliss, and Asuka versus Bayley, Dakota Kai, and Io Sky. They haven't officially gave them their name yet. I'm pretty sure that that's coming along with probably new gear for all of them soon. This has kind of been the story of the women for the past month on Raw. Of course, you've had kind of interludes between Dakota Kai and Io Sky going into the tag team division to win, to try and go for the tag titles, and you had Bayley face off against a couple people in the meantime. But this has been pretty much the idea here. And in order to give the match a little bit more heat on Monday, of course, Bianca, Alexa, and Asuka came out to screw over Control from winning the tag titles, leading to Raquel and Aaliyah winning the championships. And what a lot of people are saying is controversial.
It's time. Let's talk about it. The people are not happy with this result.
What? So if Control were to, and I'm picking Control to win this match, by the way, so let's get it out the way. I'm picking them to win this match. So given that, because you would have them win the tag titles and then beat the three biggest faces on Raw, and that would help anyone how. So they would be a logjam on those tag titles because here's the thing: they're only going to be defending it against those women in the near future, and not any of the women that actually competed in the tournament. They screwed over everybody, cheated to win the whole way through. The one time that they lose is because they got outsmarted and Bayley was taken out of the equation because Bayley is the reason that they won most of the time anyway. And this is the bad thing. They came out of it. Is that what I'm hearing here?
I think you're making a lot of sense out of this that people just tend to ignore. However, I would like to say, damn, I want to cut the whirring off in the background, but I don't want to move too far. I thought that
people wanting house right now.
No, it's my mom's cleaning. She getting it in. But I think just in general, I thought that ending to me was funny as hell because that crowd was not. Pittsburgh was apparently a terrible crowd. I was half watching Raw because I was packing all this stuff. Apparently, Pittsburgh was terrible, and
they were.
It was just. I just thought it was funny when the pyro went off because it didn't seem like anyone was very. It didn't seem like anyone was particularly joyed or felt any kind of thing about this tag.
But would people have been overjoyed with the heels winning?
Probably, to be honest with you.
Not in Pittsburgh. Hell no.
I don't know. Pittsburgh, I don't know Pittsburgh anymore. Apparently, they only go up for the mid white women in AEW. But I think the ending, I think you know what's weird? I think we've seen several times that the natural reaction to people is just to overreact to a result. And you would think time and time again, after like something happens or being able to look at it from a long form or a long scheme, that people would just be like, all right, let me just see what happens after this. Nah, people don't. And I don't have necessarily, personally, me, Raquel Gonzalez, not my tea. Neither is, Aaliyah, to be honest with you. But I'm not mad that they won the belt, nor do I think that they're talentless hacks or anything like that. I just think, to me, they are my cup of tea. I think, we need a little bit more. We need a little bit more adobo with whatever they got going on. But hope that didn't come off as racist. Was it? I'm just from New York.
I'll let them decide.
I'm from New York. I'm already used to it from New York. I'm sorry. You put adobo on everything. It just came through my head. I was like, damn. Really take it out of New York context. That could be racist. Also, when you said, magnetic, I was like, yo, I thought you were about to say something else that started with MAG. But nonetheless, I don't see anything wrong with the result. Let the girls ain't even on the card. There's nothing major. There's nothing gained or lost by having these women win the tag team titles. They're probably going to lose to somebody else at some point in the future. I think
also you need to be able to have a team that can face off against the mid carders. Like you want to see. Because the thing is that people want them to hold it until Sasha and Naomi show back up, and then it's okay to lose. It's okay for Dakota and Io to lose it to them, and for them to just trade the belts back and forth because no one else division matters, right?
Yeah, you don't want the belts wrapped up with someone. You just reestablished the belts, and you don't really want them like wrapped up with somebody else for too long. Like you want the Natalias and Sonias of the world, or the Taminas and Dana Brooks of the world to have an opportunity to win this championship, and you don't want it necessarily them caught up with nothing to do for several weeks because Control and Alexa Bliss Asuka or Control and Sasha and Naomi want to have their feud that extends various amount of time. So
it's just been, I just think that people get so disingenuously performative and obnoxious about stuff like this that doesn't in the large scheme of things doesn't matter.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's my only kind of like qualm with this, because I do generally feel like everyone also has a right to their opinion and how they feel about this certain superstar. But I do generally feel like y'all up in arms about really nothing, because y'all, it's the women's tag team titles. Like, relax. Like, no offense, but like they don't even care about them. And we just spent a month talking about, oh, they threw the NXT tag titles in the trash. They must not care about the women's tag team titles neither.
Exactly.
And we just spent a whole this fake outrage about stuff, and it ends up being like, oh, the tag titles are back. Oh, that's cool. Oh, my favorite.
How about for a whole month, a sustained amount of time, the women did get a direction to go, and I'm hoping that they continue that direction with these women's tag team titles, especially with the new holders, especially since one of them is someone that they want to push going forward. So those for sure be on TV weekly, and giving her the reps against people like Natty, and giving her the reps because I think they can go to both shows, right? So that she'll be on both shows, and she'll get reps against different women. You know what I mean? So like that makes a lot of sense to me. It doesn't make sense. What doesn't make sense to me is you having another all the belts angle with Bayley, specifically an undefeated streak between these women, because there doesn't need to be either of those types of storylines going on right now. Everyone needs to get a shot, and I think that was the right idea. As far as the 6-woman match, I think it would have been a really really bad idea to have control. Just sweep the whole roster and then beat the top 3 baby faces. What precedence does that make if you don't want to see anything else? Now you're going into the match with this stable mad at Bianca, Alexa, and Asuka for costing them an opportunity, just like they cost Alexa and Asuka an opportunity. Remember?
Hey, man, when you're right, you're right. I'm not gonna hold you. It's making a lot of sense right here. I'm not even gonna.
This makes no fucking sense. Anyway, what do you think? Like, you think Control's gonna win?
Control's winning. We don't even need to.
Yeah, they're winning this match. Liv Morgan versus Shayna Baszler. This is another thing people are up in arms about. But we saw Liv training with Matt Riddle over the weekend, and she's learning some moves.
She ain't using that shit, but go off. She ain't using no damn arm lock against Shayna Baszler. I'd turn you into a damn Cheeto, girl.
You think Ronda shows up in Cardiff?
I mean, Cardiff is a far trip to go to show up. Like,
I mean, if you get paid to go to Cardiff meals, you're gonna go to Cardiff.
I'm gonna go to Cardiff, but I also feel like if we're not in the match, like if we in 60, I don't know. Anyway,
I bought a ticket. I'm like, Ronda, how you buy a ticket?
I don't know. In my brain, I'm thinking like one time they had the Undertaker show up to Saudi Arabia just to tombstone AJ Styles. So who am I to say who's going to show up for what and what reason they're supposed to show up? Nah, I will keep it Liv and Shayna and just have Liv beat the damn girl.
Yeah. What? Wait. You want Liv to lose?
Nah, I want Liv to win.
Okay.
Yeah. It's also fake rage about Liv and how she's being booked. I'm like, bruh, she's fine. She had that one segment thing, and that was it.
She's been getting cheered since.
Yeah, it just is what it is. Yeah. Liv, what about you? What says you?
I say Liv. I think that she's outmoding and outlasting most Money in the Bank winners if she actually gets past it. She's been at 30 some days now. If she gets to like 60, I think she'll be like the longest Money in the Bank championship holder in like a really long time. Maybe. Roman Reigns, no question, no idea if Paul Heyman will be with him here versus Drew McIntyre. It's all come down to this, Mills.
Are we gonna do? Let me tell you this. Are we gonna do this to ourselves again? Are we going to fall into a sense of belief that Drew McIntyre is going to win? I have an argument for both. I think both are. I think it's more likely for Drew McIntyre to win than any other person up to this point.
It's hard to argue with the way that this has been marketed, promoted, and pushed. They have started mentioning
different nigga pushing this now. So that's my only thing. Like, it's a different person pushing this. It's a different person pushing this now.
Right. I think if you look at it, they've started talking about the amount of time that it's been and how significant 2 years has been. Roman signed another deal. He's openly told us he's not going to be there as often as he's supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? Or that he used to be, rather, not supposed to be, but he signed a new deal. These championships need holders, and they need people that are going to be on these shows weekly. And that's for damn sure. We can't go through another 2 years of this. Remember, the first year of his championship, it was mostly at home. It was in the Thunderdome. When crowds came back, he was there to help push the company into like record earnings, and he was the guy on top for that. One of the greatest champions of all time. I up there with Cena. I think it's 1-1 right now to me. You know what I mean? And when it comes down to it, is this the right time to do it? I think it is the right time to do it. I think that you have now, to me, a bunch of guys that are like created enough and are pushed enough and have enough character and are recognizable enough that if they were to win this championship, not off Roman in particular, it just in the future, that it's fair to I would think it was fair for that to happen. Drew McIntyre, one of the biggest success stories of them in the pandemic, one of the biggest success stories of them just in general, of rehabbing somebody to a point where he is the main event, or is a main event guy, regardless of what you hate or like about the guy, he went through hell last year when they took him away from this position. But when he got put back into it, he was the guy again. He's over. People love him. He's at home field advantage. I don't see why you wouldn't put the title on him. But
But
to the contrary, go ahead, Mills.
But to the contrary, it's Roman Reigns. It is the man who has not lost in the past 700 days or celebrating 200 days of his reign. It is the man who has been carrying this company into this new era. It is the man who has just been, to be honest with you, the marquee player, the definitive wrestler of this generation is Roman Reigns. We have been fooled many times before about people winning. There was I don't know. I don't think anyone thought Edge was going to win, but we've thought various people, Brock, Cena, maybe, other people on this road. What makes Drew McIntyre any different? I see all the video packages. I see everything that's being put up. All I say is we see video packages for everything now. It's a different person running the biz. It could just be to make this match more important. I do think that Drew McIntyre has had a sizable, absolutely sizable thing, but also it's like you said, I can't imagine it right now because I feel like we haven't truly seen the true descent of Roman Reigns. I feel like while Drew McIntyre looks strong on his side, I feel like Roman Reigns doesn't look fully enough threatened, especially when you have the Usos and Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn just decided piece. That man is doing amazing work. God bless Sami Zayn right now. The promo with Kevin Owens just incredible, but they're doing incredible work right now. I just can't imagine. I can see him with the pyro at the end of the show with the championships. I can't see Drew McIntyre right now. Maybe in the future, but definitely not right now, for sure.
I mean, let's think about let's talk about where it could go after. So if Drew wins, you have a Karrion feud that's ready made for him. We haven't even mentioned Theory, but I just don't think they would do Theory right. Let me not say that because they fucking could. But like the Theory thing to me would
Gargano versus the WWE champion. Neat.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the Theory thing would make a lot of more sense if it was, let's say, Drew and Karrion next month, and Drew beats Karrion, and then Theory comes out. To me, that makes more sense. I think the Theory thing is like, I tried to do that before, and the Usos stopped me. You know what I'm saying? So like, I'm not gonna try and do that again. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just thinking, I think I like what Theory's got going with Gargano. You know what I'm saying? I think that makes more sense to me for him to do right now as they figure out this title situation.
I think,
but you have
leaning more towards that triple threat happening at whatever pay-per-view is next, for sure.
Between Karrion, Roman, and Drew?
Yeah, that's way more likely. And I think the next one is Extreme Rules.
Yes, it is. It makes a lot of sense. That too makes sense. That too makes sense. I think Drew has so many feuds that he could come out of this doing KO, Karrion, anyone, literally anyone coming out of this, splitting the titles, which needs to happen. These titles need to go back to their shows. There's so many weeks. There's been a whole year where we have not had an actual champion on the show. Even when Brock had it, it was barely they were barely on the show. So like we need to have consistency here. But if Roman wins, then who, Mills? Like who?
Drew again. Drew again. I don't know what to say. I mean, Drew, Braun, who?
Why Braun? You just said you hated him.
I do hate Braun, but that don't mean just because I hate people don't mean I can't recognize that some shit is gonna probably happen. But I just don't like him. Brock. God bless. I hope not. I mean, we got Bobby. We got a couple more people, you know, in the tank. We got Seth. We got still a couple more people if Roman happens to win. But yeah, I don't know. At this point, I gotta go with the numbers. I gotta go with the odds. I'm gonna say Roman Reigns walks out. I'm gonna say at 3 p.m. my time, Roman Reigns is still gonna be WWE Unified Champion for sure.
I'm gonna go with Drew McIntyre, man. We put his jersey in the rafters. He joined our show. Roman did it, so I'm always gonna rock with this guy.
I feel like if they would just allow us to get him, I don't know. Let me shut the fuck up. But I guess we are at odds, sir.
I again, I'm not mad at either. I'm not mad at either outcome. The thing is that the booking becomes way weirder if Roman comes out of this, because it is like at that point, Meals, it is literally everyone. He has beaten everyone, and I'm sorry. As much as they're trying to rehab Karrion, and I think that they're going in the right direction, it's not going to be him either.
Hey man, just run the whole list back. Fuck it. Run it back.
I did like the Kevin Owens brought up that the fact that like the callbacks to some of his older matches with Roman. I did like that on Monday though. I thought that was a really nice touch.
He would say that shit. He would be the only person to say that shit. But yeah, nah, for sure. I guess we'll see. You got a big wrestling weekend coming up, so there's going to be a lot of headlines that come out of this, and it'll be interesting to see where the chips lie after this big Labor Day wrestling weekend.
Absolutely. And thank you guys for rocking with us. Almost 2 hours this week for this hot take and prediction show. Thank you guys for listening. Spot Callers, Death Before Dishonor 6 with myself and Cyrus is out now. So join the Patreon, $5 down. You get an extra show, and you get shows like this very, very early, as well as War Report early. This week, they're going to be predicting NXT World Collide and AEW All Out. I cannot wait to hear what these two have to say about that. But yeah, thank you guys for listening. We're going to let you guys get to your hopefully safe and hopefully fun Labor Day weekend. Please make sure to check out all of these shows and tell us how you feel about them by tweeting us at the A Show RNC, at OGJohnny5, and at Meals TV. If you've ordered your shirt, it should be there in the next couple of days. Make sure you tag us in it. Let us know that you got these shirts, and thank you guys for supporting. So for Meals, I am Justin. For the A Show, peace out.